Hello everyone and welcome to a Readathon reading wrap-up. So this Readathon I will be talking about was the Sims Readathon. I do enjoy playing The Sims. I don't play as much anymore. I'm kind of, I don't know if I'm like fizzing out with it or something, but I don't play it as much as I used to. But when I do play it, I still really enjoy it. I think part of it is that the computer that I play on is in my office here at home, and it gets freezing cold in my office, and I don't want to sit down here and play. I sit here at work, and sometimes with like my back and the pain and all that, it's just better not to come and sit in my chair any more than I have to. So anyway, this one was a team-based readathon, and you were sorted into a team. So I reached out via Instagram. I will list like the hosts and everything in the description box so that you could definitely check them out. And I was sorted onto Team Bachelor. So you get 1 point per book. So that's 8 reading prompts. Of course, I read 9 books because I always read for the free space if I can. And 10 points if you get a blackout. So total of 9 prompts. And I got a blackout. So I'm pretty happy about that. So let's go ahead and just delve right on in, shall we? So prompt number 1 was the base game, and this is to read a book out of your typical genre. Right now, my typical genre is romance. I am in a big romance era. I did an ebook, so I will insert a cover here. I read The No Girlfriend Rule by Christen Randall. This was really sweet. It was really good. So I gave this one 4 stars, and it was 323 pages. This we are following, it takes place, it is a young adult, so a lot of it takes place at a high school. You do have homophobia in it, you have fat phobia, you have sexism as well, because there's just some characters that are just jerks. But anyway, the main character, she's in a relationship with her boyfriend, and he is really big into what's called S&S in the book, which is just, in this case, it's this world's version of D&D, which is Dungeons and Dragons. So she really wants to have that connection with her boyfriend. He is in an S&S game group with some buddies from school, and they have this rule that there's no girlfriends allowed, and so she is trying to find a group. She does find a group. They're all girls. You have one that's like 12. I think the oldest is like 18 or 19 in this group. And so yeah, you've got a huge diversity as far as like racial diversity and LGBT diversity. You have someone who is trans in this. And yeah, it was just a really sweet book. A lot of finding yourself in this and kind of learning to accept and love yourself as well. So this was a really sweet book. Prompt number 2 was World Adventures. This is to read a book set in a different country. This one I went with Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. This is another young adult romance. This is heavy and full of child abuse, so please proceed with caution with this. This is a romance between, she turns 16 in the book. She starts out as 15, and then the high school like rugby team captain, Johnny. So Shannon and Johnny are the characters' names in this, and yeah, so Shannon, not only is it rife with abuse, child abuse, you also have some domestic abuse in this, and quite a bit of bullying and harassment and assault. So it is a heavy, heavy book, but I really enjoyed it. I gave this one 4 stars, and it was 603 pages. You also have a little bit of gore in this, as Johnny has a injury and he doesn't let it heal properly, and it opens up during a game, and so you're seeing blood. So you got a bit of gore in this, but yeah, heavy book, but it was a fun read. I hesitate to say it was a fun read. I enjoyed my time reading it, but it is a heavy book, so just proceed with caution. Prompt number 3 is High End Loft. This is to read a special edition or an ARC, so an advanced reader's copy. I went with the special edition, and for this one I went with Icebound by Meredith Trapp. This is a special edition cover specifically for the Probably Smut Book Club. I have signed up for that, and I did the box that's like $25 a month, so you get the book, you get annotation tabs, and that's pretty much it if I remember right. I've only gotten 2 so far. Anyway, this is an adult romance. It does get spicy. This is a hockey romance, and age gap, the main male character is 33, the female lead is 22. The age difference bothers him. He wants to find someone and date them that's ready to settle down in life and start a family. He feels like anyone younger than in their 30s should be out partying and having fun and finding themselves and not worrying about trying to settle down or anything like that. So, but yeah, it's definitely spicy, and this was a great time. It was fun. Let me read one thing I have underlined. It says, "There's no such thing as a perfect family. We're all a little frayed around the edges." So you do have loss of a sibling talked about, and I'm trying to think what else. Affairs talked about. She drives for Lyft to try, because the main female character is in art school. She drives for Lyft to try to get some extra income and to work her way through her art school. And again, hockey romance, so he's on the precipice of, he's starting to feel the pain with his body a lot and trying to decide if he wants to retire from hockey, so the NHL takes place in Tennessee, or if he wants to sign for another year. Prompt number 4 is Ambitions. This is to read a book that has a dream job that would be a dream job for you. So this one I went with another ebook, and I went with Icebound was 364 pages, and I gave it 4 stars. Okay, now back to the dream job. I read ebook Ramon and Julieta. This was written by Alana, Quintana, Albertson. I gave this one 4 stars. It was 284 pages. This is an adult romance. It is a retelling of Romeo and Juliet, but with a Hispanic flair added to it. So it was really sweet. Ramon, his dad owns this chain, I think like Taco Bell or Taco Time, whichever you're used to. So this like fake Mexican cuisine type of stuff that's like fast food chain, they own that. They want to put this in this Hispanic community, and there's a lot of talk of gentrification in this, and they want to bring it more to the tourists, or bring the tourists more to this Hispanic community by taking out basically the authentic Spanish heritage and culture by adding this Taco King and a Starbucks and things like that, and removing Spanish-owned small businesses by removing them. So there's a lot of talk about that, and so that's Ramon, and he's had a lot of women date him for his wealth, and so he's leery, but he's really attracted to Julieta, and so his wealth is brought up a lot. Julieta owns a restaurant with her mother. Her mother was diagnosed with lupus, and so she is trying to work and get to the point that she can support her mom. And her business is one of the ones that's has the potential to be bought out by this Taco King. She is also attracted to Ramon, but knows it's not good looking at that future. So Romeo and Juliet, star-crossed lovers. There's a lot of talk of Dia de los Muertos, and how a lot of people that are not Hispanic and don't understand the culture compare it to Halloween, which it is very, very different. And so I loved the rich Hispanic culture in this book. And yeah, so 284 pages and 4 stars. Next is the Free Space. I did read a book for the Free Space just because I like to do that. And so I did Lovesickness, which is a horror manga. This is a collection of horror short stories. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. It was 402 pages. It's horror short stories, so I really don't have much to tell. It's a Junji Ito who I consider, like, with as much as he is well loved and talked about, he would be like the king of horror manga. So, moving on, prompt number 6 is the Fast Lane. This is to read a book that was less than 200 pages. I went with an ebook, and it was Strega by Johanne like Holm. I'm sure I said that wrong. This is classified as a horror on Goodreads. I don't think it's a horror book, so I think it's improperly tagged. So yeah, and this is translated, and I believe, if I remember right, it was translated from Swedish. So maybe more of the horror aspect is there in the original language, and maybe some of that is lost in the translation. I don't know. But I just feel like this was not a horror. Someone else said they figure it's more like a literary fiction. I would say it's a dark literary fiction, but it is still, that is more accurate than horror. I only gave this one 2 stars. It was 198 pages. I mean, there's this gal that goes to a convent type thing, and she makes some friends, and one of them goes missing, and they're trying to figure out what happened to their friend. So, prompt number 7 is Late Night. This is to read a book that takes place in a large city or has vampires. For this one, I went with Maeve Fly by CJ Leede. This takes place in Los Angeles, California. Big city. So, yeah, I gave this one 5 stars, 271. This is a horror, and it does go there. It is very dark. Think serial killer, and it does get very graphic. With the body horror, you do have some explicit sex scenes in here as well, so do be aware of that. You have a sick animal. That's another big trigger warning. Everything turns out okay with the animal, but it is in there, and it's a little disturbing when you read about it. But for those that are big animal lovers, I know that was a big thing. Think male serial killer and female serial killer, and wanting to be seen, but at the same time hiding it because you're a wolf among the sheep. Yeah, very dark. Prompt number 8 is Outdoor Living. This is to read a book with nature on the cover. For this one, I went with an ebook titled Find Him Where You Left Him Dead. This is a young adult horror book written by Kristen Simmons. This one has a lot of, think, Japanese folklore, I think is the right word. Japanese mythology, something like that. You have fantastical elements as far as like demons go, and this group of teenagers, they have a friend that went missing a couple years prior. The ghost of this friend shows up in like the first chapter and kind of visits each friend, saying, basically kind of like haunting them, and they need to figure out why they're suddenly being haunted by the ghost of their friend that went missing. And they end up going through a portal to this realm where they're told their friend is basically alive in this portal, and they need to find him, but they have to play a game in order to do so, and there are consequences if they lie. So there you go, find him where you left him dead. There's trees on the cover, so I'm considering that nature on the cover. The final prompt, team 9, is the team prompt. So the first set of 8 prompts everyone has. This one is team specific. And this is for my team, again, Team Bachelor, right? Yes. All of a sudden I wanted to say land grab, and I knew that was, I was like, I don't think that's right. Team Bachelor is to read a middle grade or a childhood favorite. I went with a middle grade, and this one was the selection for Autism Reads, which is the read-along book club that I host, where we read a book by an author that is autistic every month. The Discord to that is always in the description box of all of the videos. I might forget every now and then, but for the most part, it's in the description of all the videos. So the selection for Autism Reads was Ways to Be Me. This was written by Libby Scott and Rebecca Westcott. I would say Libby Scott is the author. Rebecca Westcott, I would say, is more of like the helping author, just kind of helps as needed. This is a middle grade, takes place in the UK or in England somewhere, and I gave this one 4 stars, 287 pages. This one we're following Tally, and you're seeing as she tries to fit in school and try to figure out why she feels certain ways and how to adapt and cope in certain situations and feelings at home as well as school. She adjusts herself and how she acts and talks to try to fit in at school, and her parents are realizing that there's something going on, that it's not just a phase, and then the word autism comes up, and so you're watching as Tally starts to understand what that means, but her parents start to understand what that would mean in this situation, and try to make it so that it's a little bit easier at times for Tally to cope in certain situations. So yeah, so being diagnosed as autistic in this. So those are the 9 books that I read. So altogether that was 2,987 pages for this readathon. I completed this readathon, I don't remember what day, so I just said 28 days because I know I didn't. I completed this before the end of March. So 28 days divided into that is 106.68 pages, so almost 107 pages a day to complete this readathon. So out of all the books, I gave 1 book 2 stars, 7 books 4 stars, and 1 book 5 stars. So that's a total of 35 stars issued for this readathon. Divided by 9 books, that's an average of 3.8 star rating for this readathon. So pretty good. It's that dang 2-star that brought that down. So anyway, let me know, did you participate in the Sims readathon, and what team were you sorted onto? What was your favorite read for the month? Let me know. Talk to me in the comment section below, and until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book, and I will talk to you later.